Welcome to Giant Monster News. This is Geruda, that's short for Johnny Aruda. Because if I were a monster, I would probably go as Geruda. I don't know, it just works for me. Welcome to the first edition of Giant Monster News, where we're going to take a look at some of the recent articles that have been released about giant monster films and other media. And I'm just going to give my thoughts on them accordingly. Because why not? I mean, why not talk about giant monsters whenever I get a chance? It's kind of just what I do. Am I an expert in this field? Yes. No, I'm just kidding. Not really. Oh, and in the background, we'll obviously be watching clips from gameplay of the PS2 classic Godzilla Save the Earth, because what better game is there to play when talking about giant monster stuff? First article I want to talk about is from Screen Rant. Not the best, of course, but the news is pretty obvious, and it's one that's been reported by now, of course, but I wanted to give my thoughts on it, and that is that Godzilla vs. Kong, which was originally slated to be released in March of this year, was obviously pushed back to November of this year, but it has been since been pushed back an additional time to May of 2021. The article mentioned, it was disappointing, obviously, but they say November was becoming a busy month with Black Widow and No Time to Die, the latter, of course, being the newest James Bond movie with a rapidly aging Daniel Craig, who will be in with a cane by the end of this series. Yeah, I agree with this decision, and I'm not sure if this was Adam Wingard's decision or if it was a legendary whoever's behind it, but I agree with it. I think with Black Widow and you've Disney there, and you've got you got James Bond, two massive Marvel and Bond, two massive franchises competing in November. I immediately was worried when I saw that they were moved back. Because let's be honest, I mean, after King of the Monsters was a bit of a box office bomb, maybe not bomb, but flop, I think. The anticipation is not as high as we in the fandom probably want to think it is. I know that Screen Rant will end this article saying Godzilla vs. Kong sounds like it'll be worth the wait, but I mean, we don't have a trailer yet. There's nothing I can really look at that would make me excited for it. I mean, there's hardly been any marketing for the film anyway. So my point is, I don't know who's talking about this, and I bet you if you ask any random Joe Schmo off the street, they probably don't even know there's another Godzilla movie in production right now. That's just my thoughts. So in other words, I agree with this decision because I think if we got to November, you release a trailer in I don't know, September, maybe the end of August, and it's like, should I go to the movies? I don't know, probably not. We still have coronavirus going on. What am I going to see? Am I going to see, maybe I'll see the new Marvel movie, maybe I'll see James Bond. That Godzilla movie, last one kind of sucked. I don't know, so it's like, I think this is good. We'll have to wait and see what other films are released in May of 2021, and when that happens, we'll talk about that then. But for now, I think it's a good decision. Next up, I wanted to talk about WatchMojo, the YouTube channel, released their latest, one of their latest top 10 videos, top 10 most destructive Godzilla rampages, and I wanted to give my thoughts on it because normally, I want to give WatchMojo credit because they do a good job of reporting a lot of Godzilla or producing a lot of Godzilla content, especially for a mainstream channel like WatchMojo. I mean, I feel like not a lot of mainstream sources and content creators talk about Godzilla. I don't think it's quite up to par and up to speed with the rest of sort of American pop culture. The recent films have certainly helped, but I think that's more of a recent trend. But WatchMojo is kind of consistently, I mean, at least since the 2014 movie, I've seen a pretty consistent Godzilla content coming from them, so I'll give them credit where it's due. Most of the time, their lists are pretty good. This one, however, I just wanted to say, I mean, I objected to a few of their listings. I'll go through it real fast. Their listings, and so their criteria was, this is the most destructive Godzilla rampages. It doesn't necessarily mean Godzilla by himself. They also said that if it's him fighting with another monster, that counts too. But they say basically which rampages, quote, caused the most destruction. So there's no real objective base here. It's just, they're just going by, I guess, whatever they think. They did claim that it was either personal property or landmarks, but I don't really know why that matters. But we'll get that. That will come up a little later. But their list is as follows: number 10, New York City from Destroy All Monsters and Godzilla 1998. Number 9, Hong Kong from Godzilla vs. Destroya. Number 8, Boston from King of the Monsters. 7 was Tokyo from Return of Godzilla. 6, Tokyo of Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. 5 was San Francisco from Godzilla 2014. 4 was Atami Castle from King Kong vs. Godzilla. 3 was Sydney from Godzilla Final Wars. 2, Tokyo from the original Godzilla. And then number 1 was Tokyo, again, from Shin Godzilla. Now, I did want to say, so the very first listing, number 10, New York City from Destroy All Monsters and Zilla. I don't know why this is on the list. I'm not going to lie. Destroy All Monsters, Godzilla attacks New York, but he really does, he doesn't really come onto land. He blasts the UN building from a distance from the harbor, but I don't think we ever see Godzilla enter the city. So I wouldn't really count that as a sort of a rampage, just based on the wording. I wouldn't put that. I wouldn't phrase it like that. And then, so that's it for Destroy All Monsters. And then you want to talk about Godzilla 1998. I think that goes without saying. That really shouldn't count. First of all, I am in the category of people who would not consider that monster to be Godzilla himself. It's canon in GMK that monster was considered, by the Americans to be Godzilla, but the Japanese experts have their doubts. And I even posted a comment on the WatchMojo video with that exact quote from GMK. Just because, again, I don't agree with that listing. And if anything, the military did more damage to New York City in that movie than Zilla did. Call him Zilla, it's what he is. So that's an objection there. Hong Kong was a good choice. Boston's a good choice. I think they're all good choices. I will go down to number 4, Atami Castle, King Kong vs. Godzilla. Now, if we're talking about the percentage of destruction caused, okay, well, fine. 100% of Atami Castle basically gets obliterated by King Kong and Godzilla. And in fact, at one point, they're basically just like shredding the building with their hands as they quote-unquote fight. Yeah, I guess it's a bad time to mention. I'm not a huge fan of the original King Kong versus Godzilla. Yeah, I know, crucify me, but I don't know. The suit acting is pretty silly in that movie. I guess it's all I really mean. It's kind of goofy looking. But the point is, that controversial take aside, the Atami Castle listing on this is, I don't know, why is that here? I don't understand why we've sort of suddenly gone from talking about cities as a whole to just one landmark. Godzilla's destroyed plenty of landmarks, I'm sure, Tokyo Tower's gone down a few times, and that's not even on here once. If it's talking about percentages, like I said, it's 100% of the building. Well, you could put any building on there. He destroys 100% of a lot of buildings. I know it's a landmark. Again, I just don't know why, it's on the list, let alone at number 4, ahead of San Francisco and, I don't know, and Boston, which get completely obliterated, by the way. But I think it's better than number 3, which is Sydney, which is even dumber. Because once again, we have a city that's attacked by not Godzilla, but Zilla. Again, WatchMojo tends to know their Godzilla stuff, but I think they're getting confused here because, again, that's not even the real Godzilla. Yes, Godzilla does show up, defeats Zilla. He does blow up the, is it the Opera House or the theater, or whatever that famous Sydney landmark with Zilla inside the building. But I don't know, that's the only bit of Sydney we see getting destroyed. And yes, again, another famous landmark that gets destroyed by Godzilla. But I just, again, you're going to put that ahead of San Francisco and Boston and some of the Tokyo listings. I don't buy that. And again, most of what we see getting destroyed by Sydney for the majority of Final Wars is Zilla, not Godzilla. The title said destructive Godzilla rampages, not destructive Zilla rampages. I'm sorry, I'm going to make a big deal of this. This is, like, it matters because they're two different monsters, and I know I'm getting laughed at right now by so many people because it's like, nerd, and I'm like, yeah, I know, but I don't know, it's just like, it's a blatant inaccuracy to me, so I don't know why it's on here. I would say if I would give my sort of alternative list, I agree with number 1 and 2, Shin Godzilla and Gojira are the two best. with cities that get completely obliterated. Shin Godzilla is for sure more destructive than the original, given that he basically nukes the city with atomic fire. Boston, as much as I think King of the Monsters is an unachieving movie, and I'm not even a big fan of the whole Boston sequence in that film. I know I'm hot taking here like every left and right. Is hot taking a verb? I don't know. Dropping hot takes. There you go. But that city does get basically completely nuked. Godzilla blows up. Probably should have died at the end of that movie, given that Godzilla explosion would have ended the world, but that's a different series, I suppose. San Francisco at number 4 from 2014. Another city that gets obliterated. Poor San Francisco. First it got blown up into Star Trek Into Darkness in 2013. The next year it got blown up in Godzilla 2014. And number 5, I would add a new listing to this list. They overlooked this one, I guess, and maybe it's because nobody really cares about this movie, including myself. But Osaka from Godzilla Raids Again. And there I go with another hot take. But this city, there's another shot very similar to the original Godzilla, with the rubble of the city, and it shows and just like it looks like you dropped a nuke on it. So I guess my criteria is. Destructive Godzilla rampages is if it looks like it was nuked afterwards, you put it on the list. The Atomic Castle didn't look like it got nuked, so don't put it on the list, damn it. Anyway, all those hot takes and the WatchMojo video aside, let's move on to the next one. The next article is from Screen Rant. It talks about why Mothra really attacked Monarch in King of the Monsters. We're going to brush on this really quickly because I don't think it's that important. I just thought it was funny, and I had a funny take on it. So they're talking about at the very beginning when Mothra hatches in King of the Monsters, why Mothra gets aggressive. They describe Mothra as a benevolent creature, even though she's declared war on the human race multiple times. But that aside, they're like, why would Mothra attack the humans at the beginning? It's like, to me, it's like, well, they were aiming guns at her, so I think maybe she just felt threatened. But they explained, and this was from a tweet made by the King of the Monsters Twitter page, that Mothra was expecting to hear the classic Mothra song as the Mothra cult, which was, 10,000 years old, as is the Mothra. Oh, let me restart that. So the Mothra egg is said to be 10,000 years old. So there was a Mothra cult of 10,000 years ago, and eventually that cult has since ended. But apparently they would sing to the monster, according to the article. I'm just curious, how would a unhatched creature expect to hear this song after hatching? And furthermore, the singing stopped probably, thousands of years ago, I would assume. Can you imagine were the two twin sister scientists from Monarch in that photo that was shown, to Kyle Chandler, were they singing to Mothra? I don't know. I don't quite buy it. But this information does, again, come directly from the King of the Monsters Twitter page. I just thought it was funny. I looked at this and I was like, all right. I guess they were singing to Mothra, and Mothra expected to hear a song. It's a little nod to the original thing, the show Bijin, as they're called, the two, quote, twin priestesses doing a song and dance number. I'm glad that wasn't in King of the Monsters, not gonna lie. All right, moving on. From Hypebeast, it was reported that apparel company, HUF or HUF, I don't know if it's an abbreviation or what, but has unveiled a Godzilla-inspired collection just in time for summer. Now, I first saw these, and I wasn't too pleased. I've attached a link in the description if you want to check out their collection. It's actually really, really cool. The first one they show is like a Hawaiian shirt with Godzilla coming out of the water, and that's the one I saw, and I was like, this looks stupid. But if you scroll down, there's actually some really cool ones. There's a one with the Return of Godzilla poster on the front. They have another one with Godzilla vs. Gigan poster. I like the poster ones quite a bit. And they had another cool one with a bunch of title logos on it. I think it looks like from the Hazy series, maybe. And I love the Hazies. And I can see Final Wars down there as well. So maybe it's the Millennium series. And it looks like they have some of the Godzilla models on the sleeves. That one was really cool. So overall, this was a good collection. Check out the link in the description if you want to see the entire collection. And then lastly, this was another fun one from Cinema Blend. The hilarious way Anthony Ramos took a break from Godzilla to audition for Trolls World Tour. Anthony Ramos was in King of the Monsters, apparently. I knew he was, but I honestly can't tell you who he played. And apparently he as well figured, screw this movie, I'm going to go audition for another movie in the middle of shooting. Now, obviously, this happened between takes or during, when he wasn't on set. But I just thought it was funny. He described his audition for Trolls World Tour, which was, of course, the most recent Trolls movie from DreamWorks Animation. He said that he was in the middle of shooting Godzilla. He had no recording equipment to record lines. So he said, quote, "I just did it on my phone in the closet. I went up to the closet in the bedroom, took my phone out, opened the voice memo app, and recorded the lines." I just think that's hilarious because as someone who's been to Hollywood and I've, studied there, I would say the one thing I learned most was that nobody knows what they're doing and everybody pretends like they know, and you'll be surprised at how unofficial everything is. I guess my point is here, well, you'd expect Hollywood stars and people in the movie business to use all this professional equipment and all this stuff. And here's Anthony Ramos being like, yeah, I'm just going to go in my closet and audition for a DreamWorks picture on my phone using the voice memo app. I mean, that's just great. I think that's just great. It's funny. And he got the part. Congratulations, Anthony. You ended up in one of the most controversial releases of 2020, given the whole AMC issue that came out of that. And AMC and Universal's fallout. Has that ever been resolved? Are they going to show Universal films at AMC theaters again? I guess we'll find out. That's it. That's all I got for this week's session of news. I hope to have some more diverse news coming in next week or next episode. I don't know how frequently I'll do this. Probably once a week, but I just wanted to get this out here. Hopefully we have some I don't want it to be strictly Godzilla. This is Giant Monster Media. I do want to get to some other monster franchises that I love. And I also wanted to say, much like this channel is going to be, I know I have a lot of hot takes, but that really comes from the passion I have for this franchise and for giant monsters as the giant monster genre as a whole. But, if you like this type of video, you want to see more, hit the like button, ring the bell for notifications. Consider subscribing. There's gonna be more stuff. I hope this is a pretty fun channel. I just wanted to be, if you're passionate about giant monsters and you want to be critical of the genre so we can get even better quality and the most high quality content that we can get, or if you just want to be up to speed on what's going on in the giant monster world, again, consider subscribing. If you just want to hear my voice and hear me say stupid things, because I'll likely say a lot of stupid things, go ahead. Please do, although I'm sure there's enough people saying stupid things already in the world, but at least I'm saying stupid things about stupid things that don't matter, like giant monsters. For Giant Monster Media and Giant Monster News, this is Jaruda. I'm signing off. I'll catch you guys later.